Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Papito here. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the fact of being no tax resident anywhere, in any country in the world. This is a situation where you're a perpetual traveler and or a digital nomad, if you want to be called like this, and you have this issue of not being tax residents for tax purpose in any of the country in the world. ESENtaxa talks in this channel about the way of optimize taxes, reduce your tax burden. We focus on Italy if you want to relocate in this country, how to reduce your taxation and how to be almost tax-free when you move to Italy. We also talk about general international tax principles. In this video, I'm going to talk about this specific topic because more and more people want to be perpetual travelers or digital nomad, or simply change the fiscal residence, and they're wondering what happens and how and where and when they have to pay taxes when they move to any different country. Now, in this specific video, I want to discuss the issue of being tax resident nowhere. This is a situation that most of the people, or I would call it like a misconception, a lot of people have. Actually, be tax resident nowhere. It's something that in certain circumstances it's feasible, but it has some practical issues. And one of the most important and problematic issue is banking. Basically, open a bank account. When you're not tax residents in any of the countries, so let's imagine you leave your country of origin and you don't spend in each country in the world, you don't spend 6 months in any country in the world, most likely. This is the general idea, this is a general tax principle used worldwide by all the countries. So if you don't spend these famous 6 months, you don't actually pay taxes anywhere because you leave your country of origin, you're continuing traveling around, you pass 2 months there, 3 months there, you don't have really ties in any of these countries that you are simply visiting, that you are simply going through just to work a little bit there. In some cases, there are some exceptions, so you have to be careful because some of those countries might ask you to pay some taxes on the territorial income that you're generating because you're working there. But in general cases, you in theory can skip paying taxes in all of these countries because you're just spending a very short amount of time in each of those countries. The problem is, what about the money that you're earning? Where are you going to put this money? The money has to be put in the bank. So you may be receiving salaries, or you receive money from your clients. Maybe you're a freelancer most likely, and you have to give some bank coordinates to receive your salary, receive your revenues. Now, the problem is that nowadays banks ask you for the tax certificate. And if you're not taxed anywhere, basically, you don't have any tax certificates to show to any banks, or you don't have any tax identification code that you can provide to the bank. And the banks, why they need this tax certificate, they need this ID or this tax code, is because nowadays banks, they of course they're regulated by the common standard reporting, or the FATCA for the United States side. What is this? Is actually banks are obliged to report information about their clients that are not residents. So let's imagine, I'll give you a practical example. If you are from, let's say, UK and you want to move to Italy, right? You change your tax residence to Italy. The UK banks, the banks that you have money in UK, they want to know this change of fiscal residency, and they are going to ask you what is the Italian fiscal code in order to send information about your bank account back to Italy. And when you're not resident anywhere, you cannot give to those banks this information. And now this information, in most of the cases, is mandatory. So that's the point. So the first problem is that the banks require you this tax code. So the bank is the first problem. So if you don't have the chance to open a bank account, you can actually not work. You cannot receive money. Especially if you have client anywhere in the world, they supposed to send you this information, this money, and they don't have a way to pay you because you don't have a bank account. So this is the first obstacle. The second obstacle is that you don't have any tax certificate. Now, a tax certificate is very important for the one simple reason. In case it happens to be in a country that requires you to pay taxes and you just spend in this country at limit 6 months, you purchase a property or something, and this country requires you to pay taxes worldwide, you can always say to this country, look, I have a tax certificate of this country in which I'm resident, in which I have my tax residence. And thanks to this tax certificate, this country cannot immediately aggress and ask you taxes on your income, but has to deal with the convention to avoid the double taxation with the country in which you managed to issue the tax certificate. What does it mean? It means that they cannot ask you simply, okay, pay taxes on this amount of money, but on the worldwide income, but since you have a tax certificate, let's see where is your ties, where are your ties, or where your ties are more stronger. Okay, if you don't have any tax certificate, you have nothing to put against the country that has required you to pay taxes, because you simply pass some month there, and this is quite an issue. So you might risk to have decision in each country spending more than 4, 3 or 6 months in some cases, because by mistake you pass a little bit more of the time, you didn't even recognize it, or you're simply because you're opening bank accounts, you're purchasing some financial product in other countries, and these countries, when they see that you're increasing the number of ties, they will start to look at you and require you to pay taxes there. So again, bank accounts is the issue, opening a bank account, and you don't have the chance to provide any tax certificate when you're tax resident nowhere. How do we solve these problems? So the best advice would be always to have a tax residency in a specific country that actually doesn't tax you at all. In a classical example, a lot of tax consultants, they ask you to maybe set your tax residency in Dubai, so you don't pay taxes there, you have 0 income tax, and then you can travel around the world, and you always have a tax certificate that you can give to any country that somehow they start to look at your revenue, look at your income. And you can also provide the tax code to the banks abroad from United Emirates, from Dubai, from United. This is the case. There are also other countries in which it's very easy to take the tax residence, and they don't even ask you to have the presence test, the famous 183 days presence test. And one of those countries actually is Italy. If you're not earning a lot of money, if you earning something like 65,000 euros per year, you can apply for the forfeit regime, which you pay only 5% taxes for 5 years. You can actually set your tax residence in Italy, simply register your name in the commune of residence. The fact that you have your name in the commune of residence in Italy, whatever commune, for more than 183 days. So your name has to be registered in the commune, not your physical presence is required. But the fact that your name stays in the registry, in the population registry for more than 6 months, automatically grants you as a tax residence, as an Italian tax resident, and you are liable of worldwide income in Italy. And then when you open the forfeit regime, you can manage everything online, you can have the digital identity, you can have the email, PAC email. This allows you to basically move wherever you want. You can pass all your time outside Italy, and you can be still Italian tax resident. So this is a trick. So a country like Italy can grant you, can allow you to have the tax certificate. You will have the tax code to provide to foreign banks, because of course you can open then any bank account wherever in the world. Of course you have to always remind to declare this bank's account in Italy, because you will provide Italian tax file return, and you will pay only taxes on this forfeit regime income, which is basically a self-employed income or freelancer income. You pay this 5% tax. It's not 0, of course, but allows you to have a huge flexibility. You go around the world, and in case a country, wherever you are, asks you to pay taxes on a certain amount of money because he considers you tax residents because you pass by mistake 6 months, you can always say, look, I have the Italian tax certificate and you cannot tax me on the worldwide income. So let's see the double taxation agreement between you and Italy, and then you will see where you have the majority of your ties, where you have your family, for example, where if you are Italian citizen, for sure you will be more attracted to Italy, and for sure the other country cannot ask you to pay any taxes. In some circumstances, some countries requires you also to pay local taxes, territorial taxes, which means that if you carry on your work abroad, you have to only pay the taxes generated in that country. Sometimes could happen, and then you have to pay a certain amount of money that you can tax credit again your country, which you have the tax residency and the tax you worldwide. To summarize quickly, this is a very important concept. Tax residence nowhere, it's very dangerous. You'll be might qualified in whatever country as a tax resident, so the recommendation is always have a tax residence somewhere. And Italy is one of the countries that allows you to have the tax residency even without the test presence of being 183 days presence. Of course, it's not working in the other way around. So if you're not registered in Italy, but you're passing 183 days physically, then you're taxable in Italy. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this content, if you're interested in this content, if you want to see the international tax, if you want to know more about the international tax information, just let me know in the comment below. We can release more and more content like this. And if you want to see how to cross-check this information with the Italian fiscal system and Italian system tax regulation, we can release more and more content like this one. In the description below the video, you will find our contact email to any consultancy. If you need any help and if you need the relocation to Italy, write us. We can help you we can assist you, and we can actually help you to understand how to optimize your taxes in Italy and how to plan a long-term tax project in order to live in Italy and pay long-term and pay as less tax possible. And please subscribe to the channel, like button and notification bell, and see you to the next video. Bye.